Skin that smoke wagon and see what happens.
How's that for a slice of fried gold?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know how this machine worked.
It seems to run on some form of electricity.
And it was wrong. It was a bad call, Ripley. It was a bad call.
Bad call.
Some are good for fighting, others for dying.
It's Just Two Movies.
We're back. My name is Daniel King. This is Just Two Movies. With me today is a good friend of mine, Jay. Jay, what's up, brother?
What up, man? If you don't know Danny, you don't know Dick. That's all I know.
Yeah, I guess so. So, Bird's not with us this week, which is okay. He's doing something that birds would do, getting that early worm. That's what he's up
Building
to.
nesses.
Do you know Birdman?
Yes, I do. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He normally does the show, but we do have several other repeating guests. So it's your first time on the show.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar with what we do on the show, is we watch a good movie, and then we talk about it for a bit, and then we go watch a bad movie that has something in common, and then we come in here and take a big shit on it and laugh at it.
Nice.
As is customary, we'll let the first-time guests pick the movie, and you picked...
Enter the Dragon.
That's right.
Bruce Lee.
Some of that classic fucking Bruce Lee shit.
Yeah.
Enter the Dragon is a 1973 action martial arts film, 1 hour, 50-minute runtime. It's got a 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb, 95 on Rotten Tomatoes, 83 on Metacritic. Stars Bruce Lee, John Saxon, Jim Kelly, Bolo Young, Robert Wall, Anna Capri, and Shihikeen? Best guess. I don't know. It's the guy that plays Han.
Oh.
Yeah, the claw guy. I don't know.
Gotcha. Yeah, the guy with the claw hand, man.
Yup. So this is just some classic fucking yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And there's like one of the first ones that was brought over to the U.S.
Well, that was kind of Bruce Lee's whole thing, wasn't it? That he wanted to make movies here.
He wouldn't be a movie star. He couldn't do it over there.
You know how much it cost him to make this movie?
I don't, like $3 or something.
$850,000.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's it. That's like a very nice house and like 4 car payments.
Right?
Yeah. It made $350 million in the box office.
Nice.
So
right.
that was
on the map.
That was the time to be making movies, I suppose. For anybody that doesn't know or that has never seen Enter the Dragon or is not familiar with what this is, could you tell us briefly in your own words, like what's it about?
What's going down?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's hard for me to follow plots. They're too deep. So the Kung Fu stuff I like because they kind of simplify it. Yeah, basically some British dude, I'll break it down pretty dumbly here. Some British dude comes to Bruce Lee, he's like, hey man, this guy is doing heroin, he's hooking these chicks up on heroin, and then he's killing them, he's kicking them off in the ocean when he's done with them, and he's bringing people over to his island, no guns or anything though, which is cool, because he was afraid of getting shot, right? He's afraid of getting assassinated. So it was all like swords and hand-to-hand combat, that's all it was. So he felt pretty safe over there. So he was bringing these guys in for these martial arts tournaments.
Yeah, once every 3 years, he has a Mortal Kombat.
Which is really cool about it, though, was because back in that era of the movies, like all your Kung Fu movies were Kung Fu movies. So it was like real bouncy, and it's actually based like off of like Chinese operas, So like the real dancey, like choreographed stuff, right?
Right.
And then Bruce Lee changed it up to where it's like, because he was actually a fighter. He wasn't an actor.
Right.
So I mean, he was still kind of that middle class, upper middle class, whatever, but he went down, he hung out, and he got in fights. So he was actually a fighter. So he brought that to the screen to where it's more realistic and fast. You know what I mean? Where it looked like they were fighting.
It's more of a fight,
around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that was a big part of that movie. So that's what this guy does. So he brings these guys in. Well, then it also introduces the karate and all these different other styles. Like you see the one white dude, he's more of a boxer, karate type.
Right.
Dude. And then you got the black dude, and he's more bouncy and taekwondo style. So you see all these different styles kind of coming together, which is like one of the first times that even happens.
Yeah.
In TV or whatever.
In movies.
Right?
Yeah, okay. That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that's like one of my favorite martial arts movies because of that. Because it brings all this stuff together, kind of.
Right. So the British dude wants Bruce Lee to go over there and figure out what's going on with this dude.
Spy. Right. So then it's also part of the spy era, too.
Yeah, his name is Han. But right before they sit down and they have this chat, Bruce Lee's master comes to him and he's like, you know, fucking, I had another student, Han, and he strayed from his ways.
That was all part of the deal, man.
Yeah.
You know, it was the bad egg.
Yeah, he was a very bad egg.
He uses powers for evil.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Thing, you know?
And he's really got the Bond villain thing going on.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, the whole cat thing.
Well, except he's a badass.
Yeah.
He's got a prosthetic hand, and he carries around a cat all the time.
Right. So that was kind of a part of that era too with the movies. You know, with the whole spy thing. You know, the British spy movies and stuff like that. So they tied a lot of that into it because they knew what sold. I mean, Bruce Lee knew what sold at that time.
Oh yeah.
So he ties all that together, and then you have the guys they talk about being in Vietnam. They're all coming back from Vietnam, so now you know they can kind of relate to it because that's what happened here. That's all this martial arts stuff got over here anyway. Was guys over in Korea and guys over in Vietnam learning these martial arts and bringing them back over to the U.S. So they knew that it was going to sell in the movies because the guys could relate to it. So. Yeah, it's pretty smart.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. And having not seen this movie in a really long time, I went through a really big kung fu phase where I just absorbed everything. I watched a bunch of Kurosawa films. Just anything I could get my mitts on, I couldn't wait to watch it. And this was always one of my favorites. I probably watched it. This time that I watched it is probably like the 7th or 8th time I've ever seen it, but I haven't seen it in several years. So it was almost like kind of rewatching some of it. And I couldn't quite remember when his master's telling him like, "Oh, before you go, let me tell you." Oh, and it like goes to a dream sequence or whatever where he's remembering it. So that woman was Bruce Lee's sister,
right? So he mentions, I think that he actually mentions his mom and his sister.
He's like, Han killed your sister, but he wasn't even there in the dream sequence. It was a totally different dude.
Yeah. And
she like Harry carried herself. So I didn't really understand that bit. Because I thought they were trying to say that, like, Han killed your sister, but she clearly killed herself.
She did.
And nobody else was, like, a Han guy wasn't even in the sequence. So I thought that was, I got a little confused with that.
But no, the big white dude. See, I'm horrible at names.
Yeah.
So you really got to follow me. So, and that's why you're good with your research. And and I've seen this movie, I mean, since I was a little kid. So for the last 40 years, I've been watching this movie.
I think that guy is played by Robert Wall.
The big tall dude, right? They had the scar on his face. Right?
I think that's
so
Robert Wall.
He was his henchman. So that's when he picked up that scar because he was chasing her down and her buddy or whatever sliced his face. So he worked for him. So that's how that whole thing got tied. Right. But I think it was just a happenstance though. That she was just going by or whatever. I don't think he was looking for, you know what I mean? But
so this movie does do a really good job about peppering in some comedy and some funny bits that I found delightful. And it's mostly with the other characters, like the older white guy and the black dude. What were their names?
Oh, yeah.
Roper and Williams.
Yeah,
yes. Roper and Williams. They had some great scenes, some really funny lines, some, as far as I can tell, okay martial arts.
Well, they were actually martial artists.
Okay.
Yeah. Both of those guys were actually martial artists.
Nice.
Yeah, and then the Williams, so he actually went on to make movies on his own.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the other dude, I don't know his name because I'm terrible for that, but
Roper.
Roper.
That's John Saxon is the actor.
I think he's an actual martial artist as well.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I could see that.
Yep.
The other guy's Jim Kelly. Yeah, so Jim Kelly and John Saxon are Roper and Williams. They like the funny stuff that's in here though is like Roper's like a businessman and he's on a golf course and he gets a call on his car phone that's in a golf cart that's shaped like a chariot.
Right.
It's
ridiculous.
Just weird, bizarre shit.
Yep.
And then
it's just over the top.
Yeah, it's super over the top. He like goes and he hits a golf ball down in the woods and he's going to look for it. And a bunch of these like, have you seen the movie Dodgeball?
Yeah, I have
All
seen
right,
that.
so
yeah,
these
yeah.
like white Goodman,
Right.
Globo Gym looking motherfuckers all come out of nowhere with their big mustaches. Oh God, they threaten him, and of course, because he's a martial artist, he beats all their asses.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah, well, they're just cheesy looking thug types. They all look
Right.
like white Goodman off Dodgeball.
Well, and typical of the martial arts movies, they know how to take turns. So one guy goes in, he gets his ass kicked, he gets knocked out, and then the other guy rushes in, and then he gets knocked out, and then the it's the other guy's turn, So they know how to take turns. So, and then he walks out and continue.
Yeah, that's it. You get another cool
Yes.
scene with Williams where the cops stop him. They're like, "Hey, where are you going,
yeah.
son?" And they're like gonna
Yeah.
just brutalize him for no reason. He
Well,
beats their
yeah.
asses and steals their truck and wrecks it. Their police car.
Yeah, he steals their police car. It's awesome.
There's some weird story devices in here that you could just kind of skip. Like when they get to the island, there's a lot of like when it shows the big open yard area, and it's all the dudes out there in their white gis doing their forms where they're just like punching in place.
Punching in place. Yeah.
That's too long. I don't need that much of that.
Yeah.
A bunch of that like festival when they first arrive. I love that festival though. They got the sumo wrestlers in the middle. And
Everything's going all at once. Like
it's
circus.
it's crazy.
Right? Yeah, so that's just the whole thing. If you watch like the whole thing, you're really picking out those background pieces. It's almost like they hired a Chinese circus or like acrobats. Because you see how bouncy and stuff, there's like all over the place. And you got the sumo wrestlers, and you got the guys with the, they hide up like they're a dragon and they're bouncing around.
Oh, yeah.
That type of stuff. Yeah, so all the stuff going on in the background it's pretty amazing. But like I said, it's a whole thing of bringing that Chinese culture and all that stuff in the movies, but like bringing it like across. Really, it's meant to be over here, but bringing it across the world. You know what I mean? Because the Chinese didn't care about that.
Yeah,
they could care less about that movie. That was all America.
I think probably my favorite scene in the movie for comedic value was when they're all getting hookers. That lady's like walking all the girls to their room.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I'll take you and you and you," and he picks out 6 of them. He's like, "If I missed anybody, I'm sorry. I had a big day. I'm
I
kind
don't
of
know
tired."
if I call them hookers though, because they're pretty much like sex slaves because they're on an island. It
heroin.
seems like they're into it.
Yeah,
they're having a good time, but it's because they're hooked on heroin and probably whatever else they're cooking down in that lab.
Right.
Whatever that was.
Yeah, whatever.
Big vats and their big woks, I should say, full of
They did have big box
heroin.
full of drugs. Oh man, no. I mean, this thing's fun. And then you eventually get to like the Bloodsport Mortal Kombat tournament. The actual tournament play of it, I thought was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, that's where you saw the different styles coming out. Mostly like kind of a karate theme, but then you see, with Bruce Lee showing some of the grappling and the locks and stuff like that, which is really cool if you really get in. If you're into the martial arts, like all the moves when you break it down. It's pretty cool as you see all these different combinations and stuff like that you see now, like in MMA and stuff like that. These different like wrist locks, because like I said, Bruce Lee brought like to where it was the real stuff. Like he said that the most realistic fighting is Western boxing. That's like the most realistic thing. As far as fighting, all this bouncing around and flashy kicks and stuff is going to get you hurt.
Right?
Like for real, unless you're fighting somebody who really doesn't know how to fight. But if you're fighting somebody who's also a trained fighter, if they're a boxer and Wing Chun, you're done.
Right.
Eat Man thing.
Right.
Yeah, it's awesome in the movies and it looks pretty and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But if you're actually like because like an Eat Man, he fights Tyson, whichever one it is, 2 or 3, whichever one it is. Come on, man.
I think it's 3 where he
Right?
fights Tyson.
Yeah, he's like that dude weighs like 90 pounds. And Mike Tyson hits you like that?
Right.
No.
No, break your spine.
Right. You're not gonna be able to put your hand up and still keep your hand.
Speaking of fucking huge dudes, Bolo Young is fucking ripped in this. He's so big.
For that side, for everybody else in the film, you know what I mean? Like Bruce Lee and everybody who like always works out and is like in shape. That dude is just huge. It's amazing.
He is. Yeah, he's very like bulky, muscular. Where normally
puffy
you see
like.
the hero of your story or whatever a little more on the lean side as far as most far as most
fit.
like like Bloodsport, Enter the Dragon, Kung
He's
Fu,
more the
whatever.
power lifter, like exactly what he did though. He breaks people. He picks people up and just breaks you.
Yeah, he plays a heavy. They refer to that as the heavy, like the bad guy that kind of loses at the end. He plays a heavy in almost everything I've ever seen him in, but he's great at it, and he's fucking jacked for this movie. He looks huge.
Yeah. He grabs that guy, he picks him up, and he just starts. I thought you would think that he'd pick him up and he'd slam him down or like on his leg and break his back, but he just squeezes him. It just squeezes the life out of him.
Yeah.
That's just amazing.
I mean, as far as the storyline goes, you get it. There's a tournament. Bruce Lee does a little recon work. He eventually figures out, oh my God, drugs. Williams gets killed. And then the main bad guy, Hani's like, oh, Roper, I want you to join me, Roper.
The one chick's a little spy too. Remember?
Oh yeah, she is a little spy.
Mm-hmm.
Just to throw that fucking hairpin like a champ.
Yep. Yeah, that was wicked. Yeah, that was pretty wicked. I
like that shit. Dog. Can you throw stuff accurately? Any good at that?
I don't think so.
I can throw a knife a bit.
I don't know. I probably could.
I think about 8 feet. That's about my max.
So, like, when I was a kid, I was totally obsessed. Like, ever since this is the first time I can remember, saw this movie when I was a little kid. I was just obsessed with martial arts. So I had, the Black Belt magazine and all that stuff. So I'd order all the ninja stars and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And I had a piece of plywood in the backyard.
Yeah.
Or down in my basement.
They're hard to throw uniformly.
Oh, man. They're hard to throw to make it stick in anything, unless it's like one of those like the extra sharp like razor blade.
Oh yeah,
unless you have to
throw
throw
it at a piece of drywall.
right.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I was really get frustrated because I'm throwing a piece of paneling, it's bouncing off.
Right.
It's like, this is not going through like it does in the movies.
No, it would probably stick in a person though, because we are wet and squishy.
Yeah, that's true. I guess it will work on a person.
Yeah, it probably would work better on a person than on a piece of paneling.
So I guess I should have had a person. Maybe that.
Just by the way, for all of you, since this is a non-visual medium in which we do the show, Jay is dressed in full black gi.
Yes, I am.
With competition nunchaku around his neck.
There you
go. Yeah, it's pretty good stuff. So, Bird, when you listen to this one, you need to step up your fucking game. Maybe I'm just gonna wear a tuxedo to the next episode. Whatever it is.
That's right. You gotta get dressed for the occasion, man.
I fucking guess so. So as it progresses a little more, you get the big finale that you're kind of expecting. So Han, the main bad guy, he's like an older guy, but they make him seem pretty fucking badass. Like they do a really good job of making him look like a bad motherfucker. And maybe he actually is. I don't know, but he looks older, you know what I mean? Like he looks late 50s, maybe. I mean,
yeah, but them dudes doing all this stuff all their lives, they're always in good shape.
Yeah, not even a big deal.
I just turned 47.
Yeah,
and I'm still fighting with 20-year-old kids.
Yeah,
25-year-old kids, training them, and still taking it to the head. I shouldn't be, but
right, yeah.
I'm 47, but I still am able to keep up. Actually, they try to keep up with me. So. As long as you keep doing it, it's very good. It's
no
very
biggie.
Good exercise.
Hell yeah,
bouncing
man.
around and throwing all those punches and kicks all night long.
Kiai.
Because
what do you think of Bruce Lee's signature?
Very intimidating.
His, you think it is
very intimidating?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you don't think so?
I was always like, why does he make that noise though? Like if he was like. Instead of
it's so dramatic, man. It's so dramatic.
It's good. I like watching it on screen. I just always was like, it's so strange.
It's called your Kia.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's his own specific Kia.
That's right. Everybody's got their own Kia. Yeah. So, like when you would go to punch or whatever, so like when you first start training, you were taught to yell or Kia, right? When you would do that. And it would make you breathe out when you punch. Because otherwise, when you're learning stuff, especially when it's new, you hold your breath. Right? So then you run out of breath. So you're about 40 seconds into it, and now you're done. You're exhausted after you threw, 30 punches. Right? So you would Kia. So every time you yell, yeah, whatever it is. And then you breathe in again, and you do it again. So it teaches you how to breathe.
Yeah, that's
So
definitely
that's where it
important.
comes from.
Remember that from doing a lot of weightlifting. Like breathing is a
It
very
is the same exact thing.
extremely important part of that.
So he's doing the same thing. It's just his style of doing it where it's more dramatic, like for the movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Well, I really like.
Because I don't think he did that in like when he was in Green Hornet. I don't know.
I
if
don't think he did in
all
Green
all the
Hornet, but
banter and screaming and stuff.
surely in some of his other movies. I
Oh,
know
oh,
he does in some of
because
his other movies.
he is who he is in all the movies. He's one of those.
Yeah.
He's not. He's a
I like the way
actor,
in Bruce
you know?
Lee, he is Bruce Lee.
He is Bruce.
They're just like, hey, Bruce Lee, and he's like, that's my
Yeah,
name.
that is
Don't
me.
wear it out.
Well, maybe he got hit in the head a whole lot and he couldn't figure out, like, and that, they'd say, hey, Chung Lo, and that he wouldn't answer.
Right.
Like,
Well, they
just call him Bruce Lee, okay?
He
Because he can't
just
figure
played
it
himself, man. It was good though. And the big boss
Chinese
battle
Connection.
at the end.
That's another one you check out.
yeah.
Chinese Connections. No,
Big boss battle at the end
Yeah.
when they're like going through his Han's like James Bond museum maze with spinning mirror walls and shit. I loved it. I thought it was great. Is it a thing I've seen before? Yeah. But this is 1984?
This movie? No, 1972.
Oh yeah,
1973.
1973.
Yeah, I think it was 72, but that's okay. I could be totally.
I mean, I'm sure they
wrong.
were making it in 72.
I think
August 17th, 1973.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in English, and if you're out there listening to this podcast and don't understand it, you can watch this movie in Cantonese.
Dude. So that's a whole nother thing. That's like, because this is like one of the first ones that wasn't dubbed because it was made, right? So it's made so much because that's what the dialogue was for that movie. Because the other Kung Fu movies, they would just ship them over here, and then there were some dudes in the studio clanging and banging with shoes and with sheets, so they make that.
Oh, yeah.
That shit.
They're making sound effects.
Yeah, right there, falling through, right? And so they had no clue what the movie's even about.
No, they're just making it
so
up as they go.
Make it up as they go along. This movie is actually, this is what the dialogue was. So those old Kung Fu movies, I like to watch them in their language with subtitles, because then you get the actors, their voice, like they're acting. Because you lose all that. You lose all of that, and it sucks.
When it's just dubbed over. Yeah.
And they totally ripped them off, and it makes me angry. I want to know what they was. I want to know what they're saying, and I don't speak Chinese, so
I don't either.
And there's so many dialects, I can't keep up with them all. So, but this is one of the first ones too.
Evidently, if you learn Mandarin, you can kind of pick up on everything else.
Probably pick up. It's kind of a loose, yeah. But this is one of the first ones too. That Bruce Lee, he starts throwing his own philosophy into the movies too.
Mm-hmm.
So like at the very beginning, he has all his little sayings and stuff, all through the movie, and then it gets into like the more the fight stuff,
right?
But like especially at the beginning, it's all his philosophy stuff and all his like little, when he's talking to that one kid and he's like, point at the moon. And he slaps him in the head. He's like, you're looking at the finger and not everything else.
Right.
You're looking at what's pointing there and now what's there.
Yeah.
That type stuff, which I love. That's why Bruce Lee's awesome, though.
Yeah. He had a lot of cool fucking quips and quotes and shit. There is I'm an avid podcast listener. That's why I think it's fun to make one. But there is a podcast called Time Suck with a comedian, Dan Cummins. But it's more educational. He, throws some funny stuff in there, and they do an episode on Bruce Lee, and it's just like his life story, and it was, fascinating stuff. He's cool to learn about. He's a really interesting person.
Yep.
Yeah, man. I mean, I like this movie a lot. So as far as Kung Fu movies go, I would say. Okay, so I want you to rate this for me.
Yeah.
How we do our rating system?
All right, let's rate it.
Is out of 10. You can measure it in 10 thumbs.
10
thumbs.
10 thumps?
10 thumbs.
Oh. How about 10 thumps of the nunchucks?
10 thumbs.
10 nunchucks.
10 Kung Fu thumbs.
All right, 10 Kung Fu thumbs.
10 Kung Fu thumbs.
How about the tiger thumb?
Yes.
All right.
10 tiger thumbs born in the year of the dragon.
Tiger thumbs. So is this an overall rating?
This is just.
Oh yeah, do we have categories for these ratings?
Nah.
Because see, this is for me. I mean, as a kung fu movie, I would say martial arts movie. I guess to me, I would give it a 10 because it's more of a nostalgic thing. Because this is the first one that I remember ever watching when I was
kind of cutting your teeth on it. Right. Yeah, it's got nostalgia value.
But I do like it also because of it brings all these different styles together, and it integrates the spy thing going on in that era. You know, and
spies were so fucking hot in the 70s.
Overdubbed, so you know what the actual dialogue, what the actual plot is. So, being that said, there is one other Bruce Lee movie that is my total favorite, so I'm gonna have to say I'm gonna have to give it a 9.5. Okay,
9.5. I like it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go 8.75.
Good,
because I really do like it. That being said, I feel like this movie is about 15 minutes too long for the 70s, and you could easily cut 15 minutes off of it and it'd be the exact same movie. Like, you don't have to cut any dialogue.
Yeah.
You don't have to cut any fight scenes. It's just like
scenery shit.
It's just scenery shit. That's it. You can cut 15 minutes off of that, like the boat scene when they're getting on the boats and they're getting ready to leave.
Oh,
there's
dude,
like 20 seconds of dialogue, but that scene's like 6 minutes long.
The boat scene. Yeah, so the boat scene, if you notice...
I like when they're on the boat, though, and that one guy's talking shit, and he's like, get in this boat, we'll go over there and fight, and then he's like, fuck you.
When he left him off in that boat. Yeah, that was awesome, right?
Yeah, he leaves the dude off in the boat.
Yeah,
it's great.
But when they're on the little boats and they're moving the thing, you know, going back and forth.
Yeah, it was cool. I was like, oh, this is
neat. It's a really cool scene because that's something you had never really seen before, you know what I mean? But there is a little glitch in there because maybe he switched boats. But at one point, the one dude had a different driver. So maybe they switched up. I was like, you're right.
Is it the one where the driver's got a baby and then he doesn't have a baby?
Yeah. But you're right, though. In that part, you're absolutely right. I think they could have shown it for about 45 seconds or so, show some scenery, the kids laughing, and then been done with it.
I mean, it's not super long. It's an hour and 50 minutes.
I agree.
But for...
Knock mine back down. I'm saying 9 point... No,
9.5?
No, I'm good to 9.5.
All right. Yeah, no, I think that's great.
Yeah.
So, let me see here real quick. It's a 91% thumb.
That's almost a whole thumb.
Gotta love that. That's almost a whole
thumb.
one thumb.
That's just like the thumb minus like the thumbnail, maybe part of the fingerprint.
Yeah,
right.
That's most of it. That's all you need for evidence of a crime.
Yeah, there you go.
Boom.
Well, minus the thumbprint.
Boom.
You don't need the thumbprint.
So is there another like kung fu movie that is for people? I know that there are some people for some reason that are dead set on not watching anything that's old. I don't have that philosophy. I do have trouble getting Alicia sometimes to watch some older films with me.
Oh, yeah.
There's plenty of old movies out there that are fucking fantastic and still 100% stand up. This being one of them, I think.
Right.
Are there any recent kung fu movies that you've seen that somebody else should check out?
Danny.
Like, is there one that you watch and you're like, this movie's badass?
There's one that's coming out, and I cannot wait to see it. And the person who's in the lead of it, I can't stand. And people love him, but I can't stand him. And I think he's one of the cheesiest actors out there. But I think maybe that's why he was actually in a movie once called Parents or something like that.
What movie are you talking about?
So Nicolas Cage is going to be in this movie, and it's called...
Is it called Jiu-Jitsu?
Yes, Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, that's out.
It's out already?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Oh my God, dude.
Hang on. We might be changing the movie we're watching.
I'm not an expert in jiu-jitsu, okay?
Came
I'm
out
not an expert in judo.
It's on Netflix.
But you know what? What they're doing in that
do you want
movie,
to do jiu-jitsu instead of this other movie?
Oh my God, dude.
You want to?
Is it out? I thought it wasn't out.
That's on Netflix.
Because
it's like the same length. It's like 8 minutes longer.
Dude, I watched the trailer for that movie, and it's not even jiu-jitsu that they're doing.
No, I can't wait. It looks ridiculous. You want to watch jiu-jitsu instead? It's not too late.
Nope, we gotta watch the other one because it's more in line with what we're doing with the Enter the Dragon thing. And I bought the other one.
You bought it?
Yeah, on Prime.
Okay. Oh, did you rent it or did you purchase it?
No, I bought it. Are you kidding me?
Okay, so
how am I not gonna buy Crippled Avengers?
There it is. We're gonna go watch Crippled Avengers and see what this is about.
Oh my God!
We'll be back.
Crippled Avengers.
Yeah.
So that means that, right?
Yeah, one's blind, one's an amputee.
Right, there's retaliation involved now. Okay. Oh, I can't wait.
It's going to be fantastic.
I cannot wait.
So we'll be back in however long it takes to watch the Crippled Avengers.
Hours, dude. It feels like $4
Gun Club.
Dollar Gun Club. What's that like?
What's that? What's that like?
Let's figure it out as we go. Hey man. Knock it off.
Knock it off. You knock it off. Get out of my head. Hey, brother, you want to shoot some guns this weekend?
Reckon. Well, I'd like to, but I'm afraid I just ain't got the guns for it.
Yeah, you running a little low on cash?
Hell, man. I've been selling grapes. I've been selling ears of corn by the side of the road. So, yep, business is slow.
Well, hell, I know just the thing for
What is it?
Dollar Gun Club.
Well, hell, I ain't got much, but I got $1. What's it get you?
Guns.
Cool. How much is it?
Well, I reckon it's about $1.
I got about $1.
No tax involved.
Yep.
You like shooting guns. What is your favorite gun? What's your favorite gun to shoot there, brother?
Well, normally I just take my $1 down to the church and get some mouth pussy from the pastor. I like 12 gauge.
Hell yeah, hell right, brother.
Hell, I like a 270, a 38 E Special,
38 odd specials.
38 odd, 10 odd, 2 odd, ocelot.
Hey, brother, you want a bush? You want a bush light?
You got one in there? Well, listen, man. I'm burning this tire in my yard, and I want to know more.
Yeah.
Where would I go?
To find
online.
dollargunclub.com.org.
Hell yeah.
I picture like getting guns that are obviously cheap as fuck and a lot of people getting hurt.
Special thanks to Brad Sexton for our jams. Please check out his latest project at suns.bandcamp.com. That is sunds.bandcamp.com. Thanks to Lamplighter Productions for our artwork. Please check out more of their stuff on Instagram at lamplighter_productions_IL. First time listener? We're anywhere podcasts are found, but if you don't subscribe to any of those services, listen to the show for free on our website. It's just the number 2, movies.buzzsprout.com. That's it's just 2movies.buzzsprout.com. Want to get in touch with the show? Email us at itsjust2movies@gmail.com or find us on Twitter or Instagram at itsjust2movies. Want to support the show? Great. Leave a like, comment, or subscribe on whatever platform tickles your fancy. So anyway, back to the show. Okay. So we're back. We watched Crippled Avengers.
It's not like the Avengers, like with the Hulk and whatnot.
No, there's no Tony Stark in this. This is a 1978 action martial arts film, hour 47-minute runtime for some reason. Initial release December 21st, 1978 in Hong Kong. Directed by Chang Chi. This stars, and take all these names with a grain of salt, but I think I'm probably doing okay. Lo Mang, Cheng Xing, Sun Chin, Fang Lu, and Wang Lung Wei. And Philip Kwok, Chen Kun Tai. Yeah, and those are the guys.
I recognize.
Yeah, you know which ones I'm talking about. So this movie,
dude, that's some flamboyant stuff they had going on there.
Let me tell you
they
what.
Reached the limits.
Listen, if your friends can dance and you know they can dance, then let's put them in my kung fu movie.
Oh wow!
Because that's what's going on here.
Amazing.
There is.
It's a Chinese opera.
35 minutes of circus dancing that you can just take out of this and still have the exact same film. Just the really long fight scenes. Now, that being said, they're pretty good,
dude.
They are pretty good, and bits of them are extremely impressive. Yes. Which I actually liked quite a bit, and I kind of like the angle with the story, although it would be problematic to remake this movie, obviously, for some pretty clear reasons.
You could probably pull it off, but you have to make a few changes. That's all.
So there's like
the title
for starters, yeah. So there's a guy, and he's like the emperor, the lord of the area or whatever. Somebody kills his wife and cuts his son's arms off. So then he's like, I'm going to get you metal arms. And then it cuts to the next scene. And he's just a full-grown man.
Yeah.
He's like, I got you some metal arms. Killed. It took some time.
Amazing.
It took some time. It took like 25 years, but I got you those metal arms. I promised you a couple seconds ago.
Well, and then he says, too, he goes, this is like the 7th pair. So I guess the other ones failed somehow as metal hands.
Yeah, and then he's like, now we begin your training.
Like,
you could have been training. You could have been training over those 20 years.
Practice hands. Those practice hands for that.
Yeah, make them out of straw.
Like when you train with a sword, right? You use a practice sword. You don't just walk out with a sharpened edged weapon.
No.
You start out with a practice sword. So same with hands.
Just like, you
have practice
tie
hands.
Some sticks to your stubs or something.
Right. Feathers. Get a bunch of feathers first. You're not injuring anybody. But so his wife gets her legs cut off. The kid gets his hands, which really almost like his whole arm, it looks like, but his lower arms gone.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? What a tough kid.
What a tough kid.
He barely even whimpered. They took my arms off.
They cut my arms off, Papa. And then he grows up to be a fucking maniac. So it's like somebody will mouth him in the street and he'll like fucking kill him. He's just a maniac. Yeah. So along the way between this emperor and his son, who's a maniac, they get offended by some people. One guy is a blacksmith, and they make him drink this stuff to make him mute for the rest of his life. I don't know if any of these are the correct nomenclature. I do apologize if this offends you. You know somebody who is handy capable. I don't mean to be. I don't know what the proper thing to say is. So anyway, he is muted, and
he can't talk.
They can't talk. And then the guy also like slaps him in the ears really hard and makes him deaf.
Well, you know why? It's because he cursed him. He says.
Oh yeah.
Remember, because he's like in the little hangout restaurant deal. And then the guys are up there and they're giving everybody else a hard time.
He calls him a son of a bitch, too.
He's like, why are you guys picking everybody? You bullies,
Yeah.
A lot of Yeah. And then, so he got mad because he's like, you shouldn't take that from that guy. And then he runs over. And he gets, he's like, we're just going to let this guy go. He's just a blacksmith. We'll find him later. And they find him later, and then they drag him because he was carrying that. What I don't know is what happened to the big sledgehammer, because he carried the sledgehammer that was like 5 foot tall. Well, probably shorter because he's probably 5 foot, so it's probably 4 foot tall.
Yeah,
right. But he's got this badass sledgehammer. But then he goes there, he gets deafened, he gets muted, and then
he doesn't ever use it anymore.
You never see it again.
Yeah.
I was like, why'd you leave without your hammer? Because that had been a whole twist to the whole thing.
That'd have been badass. Dude just carries around a massive fucking hammer.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
As big as he is, that was awesome, dude. I was very impressed with
just
that.
a maul.
Gone.
That's intimidating. Yeah, just gone from the story.
It's gone. So there's a few times that happened. That's pretty typical in this movie, though, I think.
They come across another guy, he offends them, they like gouge his eyes out.
Well, yeah, it was that guy, because after the blacksmith guy left, the guy's like, hey, I like that guy. We should listen to him.
Yeah.
And then he goes, hey, you know what? Don't listen to him.
We'll make you blind.
Yeah, well, he's like, the other guy's like, he doesn't know what he sees. Like, he doesn't know who you are. And like, well, he sees what he sees, whatever he walks out. He's like, that was the killer part. He's like, I don't have hands and you don't have eyes. He's like, I have eyes. He's like, not anymore. And he pokes him out with his metal hands.
And he gets him with the Three Stooges bit.
It was pretty rough.
He does it, yeah. He claws his eyes out or whatever. So that guy's blind.
You know what I was really impressed with, though, as the movie went on, though, was, before I forget to mention this, was at the very beginning, like, they start out fighting. You know, like the movie starts out with sword fights and stuff, but there's no blood, none. And then when they get into this restaurant thing, when this one guy comes up and he slaps the shit out of that dude like 5 times, then there's blood all over his mouth. But then as the movie progresses on, you know, spoiler alert, one guy ends up with his guts hanging out and still fighting. You know what I mean? Like, through the movie, did you notice how they kind of got like, no, we're going to put more blood. No, we need more.
No, we need to get rid of it. No, now add a bunch of it. Yeah,
crazy.
No, cut it all out. Now let's put it back in.
None. All these swords and all this stabbing, but there's no blood. But we're going to get to this part. This guy's barely going to get kicked with an iron foot. Oh, we can get to that part.
Get that blood, baby.
We can get to the iron foot part yet.
Get that blood. So there's another guy that defends him, and guess what happens to him? He like steps into him or runs into him or whatever, so they cut his legs off.
Yep.
Very mature.
Yeah. Very mature of you doing that.
And then there's another guy that defends him, and he's like, well, I'm not stupid if that's what you mean.
I'm no idiot.
I'm no idiot. So guess what happens to him?
Oh, man.
That classic thing that always happens when they put your head in a vice until you like have the mentality of a 5-year-old.
Yep. An autistic 5-year-old at that.
Yeah.
That still knows kung fu. He knows like a mother.
Right.
He's like the best fighter of all of them, for real.
Yeah.
For real. He just doesn't have the mentality anymore. Because actually, the reason why he got that was because he was actually going in to avenge those guys.
Yeah.
Like, he came across.
He was like,
what
I
happened
saw
to
what you
guys?
did with those guys. They're all fucked up. You're a dick. I'm here to kick your ass. And then they're like, nope, now you're dumb, boy.
Yep.
But he still knows kung fu.
Yeah.
They all still know kung fu. So you get metal legs.
Well, they all learned
you
it.
get metal fucking walking stick.
They all learned kung fu.
Yeah.
But from the idiot, because they took him
from
back.
His master. They're like, we're going to take you back to your master. And then he's like, because
they
have a
feel
very
like
long goatee. I teach you all a kung fu.
Because they're like, this guy came here and he tried to avenge us. We owe him to take him back home. That's what we're going to do.
Right.
So then they take him off and they take him to the guy. And he's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to teach all you guys kung fu in 3 years' time. You will be able to defeat whatever the hell his name is. Chung Li.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't keep up the names. But what I think is, like I said, as we're watching it, is the dialogue thing. That's why I like the Enter the Dragon, because I know that's what the movie was about. I know that's what the dialogue was.
Right.
This thing, I have no clue. There's no way. There's one part where he's like, all right. He was like, I'm going to have this sign. And when I go in there, when I turn it this way, it's... it's like, no, that's not what he said.
That's not what he said.
He just happened to turn the sign when he was talking.
Yeah.
I want to know what he says.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, I would like to know as well.
I like to hear the actor that's actually in the movie speak, so you can hear, like, even though you don't know what he's saying, you hear the emotion and, like, the going back and forth between it, like the banter, and then read the subtitles.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, of course.
So what I would do is I'd probably watch it first, dubbed, like we just did, and then watch it with the original, and now I know what they're saying, because I don't have to watch the action anymore. I already know what happens.
Yeah, well,
now I know
you can watch the whole movie in 25 minutes without the action segments.
This is probably true. We probably could do that.
Yeah, on the reel, the last 20 minutes of the movie has like 40 seconds of dialogue, and the rest of it is just choreographed fighting that looks pretty cool.
Yep.
It's just too much of it. I mean, I suppose they're like, let's give them a show, see? And then snorted a bunch of cocaine, and they were like, yeah, do it again.
Yeah, keep going. Keep going.
What's the matter? You tired? Come see me in the other room for a minute. Come back out. I feel so invigorated.
Well, that's just with those fight scenes, though. There's like no repetition. Nothing. Nothing. Like you sit there and watch a whole fight scene for literally like an 8-minute fight scene.
They don't do the same thing twice.
No.
Or they'll do variations.
All over the place.
They'll do some variations on some of the same moves, but
yeah.
No, the choreography was excellent.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. But it's definitely still has that 60s and early 70s bouncy choreography. That pop, hop, hop, hop.
Oh yeah.
Hop. It's got that certain tempo to it, to where that's what Bruce Lee was getting away from, like where he was making it more like realistic fighting. That's the difference between the old Chinese kung fu movies and then the martial arts movies like that he was bringing in. You know what I mean? Kind of direction, because Chinese kung fu movies are still like that, like what we just watched. Like Hidden Dragon.
Oh yeah, Crouching Tiger, Hidden
it's
Dragon.
The same type of flying through the air and as you're flying through the air.
Yeah, it's like you were saying. It's more reminiscent of like an opera or some sort of stage performance.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
yes, this is cool. Yes,
I agree.
I agree. I concur.
So these guys have been wronged by this guy. They get trained in the ways of kung fu. One guy gets metal legs. The blind guy gets a fucking sweet metal staff / walking stick / bow staff or whatever.
Aluminum or something. I think it's wicked.
The guy that is mute and deaf.
Yes.
He gets a mirror.
Yes. Yeah. It's almost like Yellow Brick Road type stuff. Like they meet the guy, and they get their special little things. You know? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Part
of
they
the
get
heroes.
their special powers over their crippledness.
right. Except for the guy that's like mentally handicapped, he just dies at the end.
Yeah, I don't know why they picked him.
He
was like the best fighter of all of them.
Yeah,
so I don't understand why.
He just dies. And
well,
then
you know why? It's
leave.
because of his crippledness.
Yep. Because of his
idiocracy.
Oh, we can't let him live. He's gotta.
Yeah, that's why.
He's gonna have to take the fall. That dummy.
Dummy.
He was the most entertaining part of the movie, though.
Because he never stopped, like those parkour guys, like how they jump and they do that flipping stuff, you know.
Oh hell yeah!
But he did that the whole movie. Like he couldn't just walk down the steps; he would roll down the steps, or he would,
do a flip,
or flip up this thing and then land on his side, and it's just amazing. Like that's the one dude that I would probably will go back because I bought that movie. So I will go back and see who he is and to see what all the stuff he's in, because I'm wondering if maybe he was like a Chinese acrobat or something.
And some other shit, yeah.
Because like those like gymnasts, like those people you see now, like
this guy trained
and stuff.
This guy trained a lot.
Right. Well,
like an insane amount.
Like probably since he was a little kid. Because that's what they do. Like even in Thailand with Thai boxing and stuff.
Yeah.
Like those kids, like they'll have 100 fights by the time they're 15. Easy, and that's how they get paid, though. That's how they support their families, is doing that stuff. But so that guy probably has been doing that since he was a kid. I'm wondering if maybe he was in some kind of thing, but he was. But yeah, like you see all that stuff now, pretty prominent because of the YouTube and stuff like that. So you will see all the flippy dippy and the flying stuff. But back then, that was not normal.
Right.
For people to be doing stuff like that.
Yeah, in like 78.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes, amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
It was really cool to see. I mean,
as corny as what the movie was and the goofy stuff about it, the performances, it was like that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was actually really cool to check out. So they get their training. They go back. They fight old boy and his son with the metal arms.
Yep. But the problem I had with it, and that we're talking about, was old Metalfoot, Ironfoot.
Yeah, he disappears.
He disappears for a while.
For like 15 minutes.
So I'm wondering if maybe he had a drug problem during the filming of the movie. He kept disappearing. They couldn't find him in his trailer.
It could be.
And they go out, hey, where's Chun-Li? I don't know.
Maybe he's like doing opium betting on cockfights.
Hey, who knows?
I don't know.
So then he comes back to his trailer. He's like, okay, fine, go do this fight scene, whatever.
Maybe he took off his metal legs and was like rubbing some ointment on his nubs.
That's a good possibility.
Could be.
Chafing.
Those things gotta chafe like crazy.
Gotta be heavy. But that's
Gotta
what was
be
cool
heavy.
about it, because they all came together. The blacksmith, he helped him. He made these metal, and then the weirdo, the idiot guy, he would carry him around before he got his feet. Remember that? He carried him around like a little, on his back.
Yeah,
So they all came together.
Now he's out of the equation. They don't need him anymore, so they just killed him. That's kind of fucked up.
Well, you know why though? Because he almost got in trouble a few times.
Yeah.
There's one time where he's like, "Hey, there they are. Hey," and then one time it's like,
hey,
"Hey,
guy."
hey, he has iron feet," and he's like, "I like names. I like bring it on." And then that's a whole part too, where the guy walks in. It's the guy's brother, and he's like, "Hey, I'll fight you, and you can each have 3 blows, and then I get my turn, and we see who's standing."
And that's not what happens.
It's not at all.
That's not the scene that's conveyed. When you describe it and then do it, and it's different.
Totally different.
We can tell that it's not what you were saying. So they fight the boss fight that lasts 20 minutes.
Oh my god!
It's a little exhaustive at that point, just because of the length of the movie and how much of that we've already seen. I don't necessarily think the story is a bad thing. I think it's actually pretty interesting. So if you were to remake this modern day, you don't have to pick cast for all of it. But if you were just to remake this modern day, what couple things would you do to make this movie better? Well, let me think about it.
Let me rub my chin and think, because that's probably what I'm doing while I'm rubbing my chin.
The one guy that was ripping throats, he sounded like Opie.
Oh yeah,
Rip a dude's throat and be like, "Yeah, what do you think of that?"
That was brilliant. Yeah, so to make it better, nowadays, well,
I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
One thing I would do is I'm dialing the wigs way back because they all look awful. Everybody's wigs look fucking terrible. So let's just either get rid of them or fix them. You know what I mean? Because they look real bad. There's no excuse for them to look as bad as they did, apart from this, being low budget.
But I was really impressed with, though, was the costume and the sets. The sets didn't seem...
I like the sets.
Right? They didn't seem like real chintzy, like you see a wall moving as they were fighting, type stuff. They were built, man. I was really impressed with that. So, but as far as what I would change, man, it would have to be going back to the length of it. We got to cut back. And we need some more people in that. Right? We have a lot of background people, but we need
There's
more.
a lot of background people, and a lot of them appear to be of Hispanic origin.
Yeah.
Which,
what's up with that?
Which doesn't fit when it's clearly a period piece.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, so this, I'm looking for the budget information here, and I see that this film was actually spoofed in Futurama. In 1999, an arcade game called Mortal Cooperation. It's seen in the arcade game. It mocks this film, which is that's pretty good.
That's awesome.
Well, okay, I'm not seeing any budget or box office information for this, but I can say
What was it? It was released in China or Japan. Where was it released?
I can say
say
with
that?
almost absolute certainty it probably did not make a shitload of money. It might have been profitable, but it didn't make a shitload of money. So I would dial back the wigs. I would not keep the mentally handicapped. I would not kill him, but I would maybe give him a more compelling character arc, because this is 1978 and he just all of a sudden has the mind of a 5-year-old who's a kung fu badass. I would do something else with that.
Yeah, I probably would have gave him some kind of role at the end. Like a higher role. Even though he was like one of the best fighters.
Yeah.
And then you get the Ironfoot dude, which that makes sense for him to kill because he killed everybody else with his Iron Foot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was except for the hoop guy. Did they break his neck?
It's weird that guy was super into fighting with hoops.
But the idiot, the guy who was bouncing around with the hoops for a while while everybody else is fighting, he's like, oh, where's everybody at? So he ended up killing that dude with that hoop, but I don't think he meant to do it. Because he's like a kid, you know what I mean? So he didn't mean to kill that dude.
Yeah, I think
he thinks to him it's a game.
He just collapsed his fucking windpipe on accident.
To him, it's a game. I think.
What else would you if you could change anything about this? What would you change about it? I'm tidying up I want to pass it through a rewrite. So let's do a little bit less fighting because the fighting scenes are great. They're just too long. A little bit less of that and a little more character building because the character building is not really there.
Right. Yep.
I think it's because there are 6 main characters, 7 if you count the master that teaches them all kung fu.
Right.
That's a lot of main characters in a story.
Right. So what I would do different if we had keep it the same length, but we cut out which we agree on. There's a lot of especially toward the end, some of the fights.
It's a little exhaustive there at the last 10 minutes.
I would build more on the character of the main boss dude.
Yeah.
Why is he such a dick?
Hey, he's such a badass too. Well, I imagine he's a dick because his wife got killed and his son got his arms chopped off.
I think that's why his wife got killed and his kid
was because he's a dick.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's why.
Yeah,
yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, now that you've brought that up,
yeah, certainly, sure. Yeah, so yeah.
My favorite part about this entire movie is how it ends when the guy he's like they beat him and he's like, "We did it," and the other guy's like,
"Sure,"
and then they turn around. They hold hands, and it rolls credits for like 10 seconds. And
that's it.
And the movie's over.
Which is brilliant because at the beginning of the movie was when all the credits were. So at the end, you just have really short, the end, music, and
it's over. That's it.
That's over.
It's over.
That's
Good
over,
night.
son.
Good night, folks.
And we should probably preface why they're holding hands.
Because the one guy's blind. That's how they like communicate with him. They like write words on the palms of his hands or whatever.
But the one guy's blind.
If they're
and the
Chinese,
one guy's,
is it Chinese? It's a Chinese film.
I would assume so. No, see, that's just it. From the style and all the swords and stuff, and they call it kung fu. Like your kung fu is good, but to me, it looks Japanese, but I could be totally wrong. It's really hard.
Let me see. I'll just look at.
It should be Chinese, but being 78, I don't know.
Hong Kong.
Yeah. So
yeah.
All right. Which makes sense with more of the theatrical opera type, thing that's going on. Because the Japanese, any women that would have been in it would probably have been a geisha type with the white faces and stuff like that.
There were no women in this movie. One, the wife up at the top.
You're right at the very beginning.
That's it. There's one woman in this whole movie.
You're right. You know what?
It's weird. There were more Hispanic dudes than there were women.
Yeah, that's crazy. But like I was saying at the beginning, though, I would have built on, or even sometime during the movie, I would have built on the main boss dude, why he is where he is, or where he came from, or who he is. They just said he runs this town. So to me, like these type movies are like our westerns. Is how it is.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So you get the two different, usually because like even with the kung fu stuff, a lot of times it was regional and stuff. Like us, like Cowboys and Indians, and them it's like the Chinese and whoever. Or they're battling at that time period. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what or even it's dynasty versus dynasty type thing.
Yeah, right? A lot of that.
Yeah. So like with our stuff, it's Cowboys and Indians.
Right.
And like Civil War type stuff, like the North versus the South, that type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they did. And that's
what their stuff is. Yeah.
In the 70s,
I generally like storylines from like feudal Japan.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, because you don't need to use like a Deus Ex Machina to make the story work. Just go because these people are assholes. That's why they're coming over here and starting shit because it's feudal Japan.
Right.
So okay, great. Yeah, sounds. I 110% believe it because that's just what happened in feudal Japan. But no, this was a pretty fun movie. All right, let's rate this thing.
Oh,
so I don't know how familiar you are with our rating system. It is super confusing. Just know that your answer doesn't really matter. We're going to post it on the internet, and nobody fucking cares. So,
awesome.
So first, you rate it as just a regular movie. Let's say you're in the mood to watch something good. You're flipping through channels. You come across this. and you watch the whole thing, something possesses you to finish the whole movie, what do you give it? What do you give it? How many Tao Tine Tiger Tums? Because that was the guy's name in the movie.
Yeah.
It's like Tao
Ten
Twin
Tiger Toe
of the Tin Tiger Towway or whatever his fucking name was.
It's like your 10 Tiger Towway. It's coming to 10 Toe.
You're a Tin Tao of the 10-toed tiger.
Man.
Yeah. So how many tiger toes? How many tiger toes up, like thumbs up, would you give this movie out of 10 as just a regular ass movie?
Just as a regular ass movie.
Just a regular ass movie.
Yeah, because being that it's a kung fu movie, kind of it already has points with me, just because I like that type of stuff.
Yeah, and that's okay.
I mean? Yeah, so I'm gonna have to say I'd have to give it like a 5.5.
A 5.5.
Yeah.
I think that's actually pretty promising.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like it. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a slightly more generous 6. Because there actually were really story mechanics of this that I found incredibly interesting. So that's where we're gonna leave it for a regular movie. Now, how would you rate this movie out of 10 tiger thumbs?
For like kung fu stuff?
As a bad movie, like deliberately watching it because it's not.
Oh man,
it's not Apocalypse Now. You know what I mean?
It's just something's like, dude, you have to watch this. One of those.
Yeah, it's like if you're in a mood to watch, take a shit on a movie and laugh at how awful it is, kind of thing.
Right.
So, what would you give it as far as thumbs
that's
based on
there.
that value?
That's definitely up there, higher than a 5.5. Yeah, for sure. Because that one's pretty. That's probably one of the worst kung fu movies I've seen. Like as far as like. The combination of everything, the really long fight scenes.
Oh my god!
I mean, dude, there's some bad kung fu movies. I just don't like them. Just the way they did them. It's really terrible fighting and stuff like that.
Right.
But this, just with the dialogue and just the whole,
a lot of another thing.
The costumes, and he had the big spear with a bunch of rings on it.
Yeah,
it's like
there's a really delicate balance in a good kung fu movie about aesthetic, combat, and dialogue.
Right.
If you can balance those three things, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
But if you've got too much of one and not enough of the other, the whole thing fucking falls apart.
Yep. And that's why I was on a 5.5, and where Enter the Dragon was like a 9.5. It's a big difference in in the quality of a movie there to me. But on a bad movie side though, I'm like, dude, this is something I would definitely have to show somebody.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna give it like an 8.5.
8.5. I like it. I'm actually gonna echo that, and I'm also gonna say 8.5 on that.
Yeah.
So that one's gonna wind up at 85% as a bad movie. 85% tiger toe thumbs. That's it for the Crippled Avengers. Is there anything else? Anything else lately that you have consumed? Music, reading a book, watch a cool TV show, cool movie that you think other people might like? No? Like nothing you wanted to plug? Is there anything that you're doing specifically that you'd like other people to check out? No? Okay. Tough crowd. Tough room. That's okay. That is A-okay. What have I been doing?
No, I'm sorry, I do not. Thank you. So actually, I really haven't been watching a whole lot. Actually, a lot of what I've been watching is like little 3-minute stuff, just like on my phone while I'm
phone
working.
stuff.
You know what I mean? Just
I get you.
It just gets irritating. I don't want to sit down and watch something. That's why I was really excited about doing this.
You have any?
So I was wanting to see something.
Make you sit down and watch something. Well,
Mm-hmm.
next time you come on, I get to pick something for you to watch.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
You
know what? I take that back.
What?
I have to take all that back. Yeah, and I have not watched the very final episode yet, and it's that show on Prime. It's Them. Have you seen it?
Them?
Mm-hmm.
What's it? It's called Them.
Yeah.
No, I have not. Is it good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's based in the 50s, and it's based on a black couple with a couple kids, and I don't want to give it all away, but there's a lot of racial stuff going on, obviously, because it's but it's got some supernatural type stuff, not a whole lot, kind of going on, but a lot of it's really realistic stuff that happens and like happened back then, and it goes into all the political stuff about how they mess with neighborhoods and stuff. Anyway, it's a whole thing, but it's not like just about that. It's got these totally other overtones going on. It's really cool, man.
Yeah, that sounds
it's really cool. I never watch trailers. If I watch a trailer just to see if I might be interested, I might watch 10, 20 seconds of it if I'm interested in watching the movie.
Yeah.
Because to me, it ruins it.
Same.
Because I'm like, dude, I know he's still alive because I haven't seen this one part that they showed me in the commercial. You know what I mean?
Cutting trailers is an art form by itself. Like, there are a lot of movies out there that have been ruined because of their trailers. I'll give you an example. The movie Chappie. If you love this show, here's your homework. If you haven't seen Chappie, what you think it's about, I'm telling you right now, scratch all that from your memory banks.
It's a weird movie.
And go rewatch it, because it is fucking great. Like, it's a great AI movie. Mm-hmm. It really, really is.
It's a weird movie, though.
But the trailers that came out for it made it look like it was Terminator, Robot, Skynet Apocalypse.
It had nothing to do with that.
And it's not that at all.
Right.
It's not anything about that, but that's why everybody was like, boo, this movie fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Because they all went in wanting, Robot Apocalypse,
it's
and that's
like
not
Johnny
what it is.
5.
Exactly. Yeah, it's more of a short circuit.
Yep.
That's so weird. That came up in the last episode that we did. Yeah, I mean that's it. That's it for me. I haven't really checked out anything else recently. I got some new things on my reading list, but I'm not going to get to them for a while, so no sense in bringing them up now. Yeah, you have anything that you're like planning on checking out that haven't yet?
Jiu-Jitsu. Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. Yeah,
God.
The next time that you come on the show, I'm going to pick a Kung Fu movie.
Oh, my God.
And then I'm probably going to pick like a Kurosawa film. And then...
I can't wait.
And then we're going to do Jujutsu with Nicolas Cage.
That's one that I did watch the whole trailer.
Wait, it's not Jujutsu, it's Jujitsu.
Jiu-Jitsu.
There's a TV show I watch called Jujutsu Kaisen. It's a different, it's a different thing.
Yeah. This is Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, Jujit, not...
Is that the whole title, though?
Yeah, it's called Jujitsu. That's it.
That's it?
Jujitsu 9, Tokyo Drift.
Yeah, I told you how I found it.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait. I can't wait to watch it. I
can't wait.
I had asked Alicia, I was like, can we rent this? Like, will you watch this with me, or am I going to have to watch this by myself? Because I'll wait. I'll wait and do it for the show so I can watch it with somebody else, Well, I think we did it, man. We finished the podcast.
Awesome.
We did it.
Sure.
You guys aren't going to start sucking each other's dicks, are you?
Let's call that gold talk for a one-eyed Batman.
Can I make a suggestion that doesn't involve violence? Or is this the wrong crowd?
Maybe we should call in a bomb threat to Houston. I think it's free beer night at the Astrodome.
The Jedi, Bob. We don't fight with guns, we fight with our mind.
Cousin business is booming.
That is one big pile of shit.
Jog on.
It's Just Two Movies is a production of Blue Cheese and Bacon Studios and can be found wherever you get your podcasts.
Are you playing? Are you recording? Are you doing the thing? Oh, yeah, you're doing the thing.
What am I doing?
Huh?
What am I doing?
I'm talking to this fucking thing.
Oh.
Not you. You're doing everything right.
I do.
Doing a great job.
I do it. You ever make love in the backseat of a car?
Yeah.
I be making love in the backseat of a car, and the police came up and shined the light at me, and I said, I be stroking. He just goes on, and oh my God, dude, it's brutal. So